Hello, this is Daily Recall. February 23rd, yeah, February 23rd, 2026. I'm Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario. Monday night. So, what I see today on my X feed, the main thing is a lot of Canadian politics for a change. I thought I thought U.S. would have started bombing Iran by now, but apparently I was thankfully wrong so far. But yeah, a lot of Canadian politics today about particularly related to immigration, which is good, I guess. I don't know if it's just the algorithm or if it's actual, like, real demand that it be a top issue. And specifically, the Conservative Party's stance on immigration. Because, I mean, we all know the Liberals. They're the bring them all in crowd. They don't hide that. The Conservatives are trying to walk that tightrope between getting the immigrant vote and keeping their base happy. I don't see how you can walk a tightrope like that. And, walking that tightrope's resulted in them getting 4 losses in a row, election losses in a row. So they're still trying the same trick, walking a tightrope, which it's not working anymore because people are sick of it. So that's the main thing I saw today. Especially the Conservatives, I guess some high-profile Conservative MPs took a trip to India and acted all high-profile, like a delegation of Canadian MPs in India. And nobody has any idea what they're doing. They're meeting with all these shady Indian characters. Conservative Party. I call them the Conservative Party of India. And then you got Jason Kenney spouting off as this immigration guy, like he's the guy the responsible guy on immigration. But they used to call him the Minister of Curry in a Hurry because he was so pro-India immigration. Now he's like acting like it's all Trudeau's fault. So we got some of that. Like, it's all Conservatives. And basically, there's nobody in Canada that's going to say, yeah, millions must go. And, like, we got millions. Literally, we got millions who don't want to go. And there's a very big danger of an amnesty. Like, basically, Doug Ford today basically said he's always complained about deportations. And so they're another Conservative. So there's no opposition to mass immigration in Canadian politics. I mean, there's PPC, of course, but I mean, of the major parties, they're both on the same page, I think. And Pierre today, Conservative again, he put out a thing saying to strip the benefits of fake refugees. I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's like low-hanging fruit. Right? So that's all you can come up with for 10 after the Conservatives can come up with after 10 years. Because they don't want to fix it. Like, that's the lowest hanging fruit. Oh, let's cut benefits to fake refugee claimants. What about the rest of the refugee claimants who are just, coming to Canada for the free lunch, with a sob story and saying, I want to get out of my shithole country, so I'm going to come to Canada and get all the benefits. They could be legitimate refugees, but why is Canada responsible for taking them all? So, he doesn't want to have those discussions of how people are. And then we got the articles too, like how people are just getting rubber stamped as refugee claimants. People aren't even meeting them in person. It's like, so he doesn't attack. He only attacks the fake refugee health benefits. That's all he's going to go after. So anyway, all that, we're going to cover all that. So let's start with Jason Kenney. He's been very vocal on the internet because he used to be immigration minister before he was premier, before they kicked him out as the premier by his own party. He was the immigration minister, so he's been a bit on the defensive lately with the Canadian nationalists, saying how great of an immigration minister he is. So here he is. Here's a post by John Carter. Jason Kenney is one of the worst villains in Canadian history. People focus on Justin Trudeau. I don't know why you call him that. But the truth is, Trudeau was only taking advantage of an immigration system that was put in place by Stephen Harper, former minister, and Stephen Harper's former minister of citizenship and immigration. It was Kenney who refocused Canadian immigration almost exclusively on the subcontinent in order to undercut Canadian wages and inflate the housing market. Kenney's a traitor. He shouldn't be permitted to try to position himself as an immigration critic. He should be in jail. Yeah, look at this guy. They used to call him the Minister of Curry in a Hurry. Like, that's all you need to hear. That's all you need to know about this guy. It's called a traitor. Minister of Curry in a Hurry. That sounds like traitor to me. Alright. Here's a good video. Jason Kenney's a traitor. Huh. I've been saying that for a long time. So, he's a weasel too. Because he did the COVID vax pass. Like he said he wasn't going to do it. Just like Doug Ford. Just like traitor Doug Ford. He did it. So he's a weasel. Look at him. So, yeah. He was trying to deplatform this guy from Dominion Society. So I like this video. I saw it today. It kind of summed up my thoughts on Jason Kenney.
Since my interview with Candace Malcolm on Juno News, we've been getting a lot of attention from establishment conservatives. Wyatt Claypool, Andrew Coyne, Garnet Jennis, and most aggressively from Jason Kenney. You might remember Kenney as the Premier of Alberta, where he rose to international prominence by shutting down churches, locking up pastors, before getting forced out of his own party and resigning in disgrace. Frankly, I'm proud to have the likes of Jason Kenney criticizing me. After all, he is one of the chief villains of modern Canadian history. Before Kenney was Premier of Alberta, he served in the cabinet of Stephen Harper. Most importantly, serving as the Minister of Citizenship, Immigration, and Multiculturalism
40-year-old virgin
to 2013. Or as many people called him at the time, the Minister of Curry in a Hurry. Now that public opinion is turned against mass immigration, Kenney is trying to reinvent himself as a spokesman for immigration restriction. But no one's buying it. You see, Kenney's record speaks for itself. When Jason Kenney was Canada's immigration minister, he didn't slow immigration down. In fact, he locked it in at record levels year over year. His immigration rates were even higher than the previous Liberal government. He massively expanded the temporary foreign worker program, turning it from an emergency tool into a permanent system for importing cheap labor and undercutting Canadian wages. Rates of TFWs doubled under Kenney and were expanded to fast food, retail, hospitality, warehousing, and cleaning services. He massively expanded the international student program while making more direct pathways to citizenship, enabling chain migration. He kept family reunification high and quietly expanded humanitarian admissions, multiplying inflows far beyond what the public was told. But most importantly, under Kenney, Canada's main source countries shifted away from Europe and the United States towards India, China, and the Philippines, permanently reshaping the country's demographic future.
I don't know why my videos sound like that. Maybe it's his video. I don't think he would make it.
Modern immigration system, the system that Justin Trudeau would crank to 11. Not only did Kenney enable radical demographic change, he fundamentally agrees with the modern dysfunctional multicultural state. In fact, he staked his entire career on leveraging it to his advantage, playing dress-up and pandering to ethnic minorities. He claims to oppose balkanization while actively fueling the divisive multiculturalism that makes it inevitable. Kenney admits that an open debate on immigration is necessary, while also calling for me to be deplatformed for my immigration stances. He positions himself as the radical flank of the debate. Anything beyond him is simply unacceptable. He thinks he can gatekeep people like me from the conversation. But the issue is, Kenney is fundamentally pro-immigration.
We were not in any sense anti-immigrant.
How are we supposed to have a debate with no dissenting opinions? After a decade of Trudeau's radical policy, drastic changes are needed to save Canada. It's not enough to limit the conversation to deporting illegals and reducing intake numbers. The vast majority of the problem has been created through legal channels. This return to Harper mentality is just not sufficient. 2006 solutions are not relevant to 2026 problems. The Trudeau wave itself must be reversed. Kenney spent a week crashing out about me and the Dominion Canadian society. He said I have a sickness of the soul. He accused me of breaking the law, and of course, he called me racist. Let me be absolutely clear about this. I do not care. Labels and accusations like these will only become more common as we continue to grow and our ideas become more popular. It's about time that the Canadian people start to stand up for ourselves. Because of the actions of cowards like Jason Kenney, we are quickly losing our country. We do not have time to be deterred by mean names. We do not care. We have work to do. They say my proposals are unrealistic, unfeasible, unconstitutional. I say, whatever is in the best interest...
Yeah, that sums up my feelings on Jason Kenney. You know, he's trying to reinvent himself. He should just go away. He ain't coming back. Nobody's going to elect him. All right, here's one. It's all about the Conservative Party today. It's funny. The Conservative Party of Canada has been captured by Sikhs since 2015. But especially under Pierre Poilievre, it's the most dominant influence in the Conservative Party of Canada. Sikh MPs are taking secret trips to Punjab. Yeah, all sorts of secret trips going on to the Punjab. And I call them the Conservative Party of India, but I know the Indians are going to correct me and say, oh, those Punjab Sikhs aren't Indian. And I'm like, well, they come from India. But yeah, they got a lot of pull in the Conservative Party. It's weird. And like, the Conservative Party lets people vote for the nominees. They don't have to be Canadian citizens. They could be permanent residents. So, you know, it's rampant, the voting by non-Canadians in Conservative Party nominations. So, yeah, not really a nationalist party. You know, fake Conservative Party maybe, but not a nationalist party. We'll see more of this trip to India. We saw this before, Carney. The extortion in India, the crime by Indians, he's going to use it to justify spying on all of us. That's the key of that one. Yeah, instead of mass deportations of criminals and all the illegal expired people, we're going to just tap your phone. And then Carney's going to India. He's going on another trip abroad. He's going to India, Australia, and Japan. India is the big one. Who knows how many Indians he'll bring back with him. But no, these trade deals with India, they're always make it easier for Indians to come work here. They do all these deals with all these different countries, and it's weird how they wrangle that in. It's like, we got too many people. We got 1.5 billion people. We need you to take some. So yeah, who knows what he'll say in India. I think it's been a while since a Canadian Prime Minister's been there. But like, we're trying to get rid of these millions of Indians. Why are we going to India? All right. So weird. What's this one? Mass immigration has toxic impacts on democratic politics. We now have a whole cohorts of MPs. Representing. Oh. We have whole cohorts of MPs representing ridings filled with foreigners loyal to foreign nations. Was the OLL aware of this trip? OLL, I don't know what that is. OLO. Poilievre must do the right thing and remove these MPs from his caucus. It's kind of hard to remove these MPs because like one of them's like the deputy leader and the other is like the finance critic, and yeah, that's the Conservative Party for you. So here's this: 3 Conservative MPs from Calgary visited Punjab, India this week for reasons that remain unexplained. And bear in mind, Parliament, I believe, is still in session. So like, yeah, instead of working as a MP for their riding and for Canadian interests, they're in India doing off-the-book stuff. So they went to Punjab, India this week for reasons that remain explained. If you look at Pierre Poilievre's finance critic, former gangster, Jazz Raz, whatever his name is. Okay, so their social media makes no mention of it. These Conservative MPs just take a trip to India together and nothing on their social media. And they were welcomed by Punjabi politicians in their official capacities as Canadian MPs. Armed security police and Sikh warriors with weapons were seen around them. So what was the purpose of this trip? Yeah, it's like, that's the Conservative Party's priority, I guess. Let's go to India and see how many more Indians we can bring. So yeah, the Conservatives are kind of taking a beating here from this, people that are basically calling them out, saying, we know the Liberals are traitors, but at least they admit it, that they're pro-flooding Canada. But you guys don't want to admit it. That's the gist of it, I think. All right. So yeah. Let's keep going here. But Pierre won't say anything. Okay, and here's Doug Ford chiming in finally, because I was actually mentioned this. I actually was wondering about this. Is because Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, wants to do a referendum on restricting immigration and stuff like that. So they asked Doug Ford about it, and this is what he said. Let's hear what he says.
People over, you get them trained up for 2 years, and companies rely. I'm focused on Ontario right now. I've always said, and I've never changed my mind, when it comes to immigration, we need skilled immigration. We need economic immigration. So
economic immigration.
Skill, please come to Ontario. We need more skilled.
Like economic immigration. What is that? Like economic for his buddies, who want to build houses, who want to, sell stuff to all these newcomers. That's why this Doug Ford guy, he was bragging how like 1 million people came to, or 800,000 people came to Ontario 1 year under his premiership. He was bragging about that. It's like, yeah, man, you're a traitor. He's done everything. I don't know. Ontario's in bad shape because we got so many now that changing it in Canada's biggest province is going to be very difficult, very difficult. You got this guy saying we need economic immigration. I don't even know what that means. It means replacing Canadians.
Workers, we need skill, please come to Ontario. We need more skilled workers. We need smart economic drivers as well. And I've mentioned to the Prime Minister, and all the premiers agree, you bring people over, you get them trained up for 2 years, and companies rely on them, and all of a sudden you get them and you ship them off. Well,
so he's against deportations now. This is Ontario. Of course, he's against deportations.
That's not good for the economy. It's not good for our GDP. So my number one priority is making sure people here in Ontario get employed.
So he's basically saying
Conservatives are continuing the fight.
He's basically saying, that's all Ontario is a bunch of economic units for GDP. Like, this guy has nothing to offer Ontario. Like, he's destroying Ontario, this guy. I've always said, I've never changed my mind. When it comes to immigration, we need skilled immigration. We need economic immigration. So he doesn't mind having a gazillion Indians come take over Ontario, like they took over Brampton. What a traitor. He's worse than Kenny. He's just as bad as Kenny, but the fact that he didn't get kicked out at least like Kenny did, that's the problem. And even if they get rid of Doug Ford, they're just going to put someone else in that's going to be the same. So, yeah, needs to be a nationalist alternative at the federal level, or a nationalist leader, or someone in Ontario who's going to turn the taps off. All right. Here's White Papers Policy Institute. I like some of their posts. Really bottom of the barrel stuff here. Canada is suffering under the weight of replacement migration that took place over just 30 years. Deporting a few criminals and cutting off welfare benefits to a couple fake refugees won't fix it. Canada needs remigration. So here, this is the video will appear today. Conservatives will introduce a motion to cut back deluxe benefits for fake refugees and deport non-citizens and foreign nationals who do crime. Yeah, that's not nothing brave to say, Pierre. That's low-hanging fruit. Let's see what he says. I like his walking videos here.
Our wait lines. Canadian to see a specialist. Fact, while you can't get health care, Liberals force you to pay higher. Fact. 6 million Canadians can't get access to a family doctor. Fact, it takes 30 weeks for the average Canadian to see a specialist. Fact, while you can't get health care, Liberals force you to pay higher taxes to fund deluxe supplementary health care benefits for asylum claimants who've been rejected, who are non-Canadians, non-permanent residents, and have never paid taxes in this country. Fact, the reality is that these services include many things that are not covered by your public plan. Things like physiotherapy. Fact, the cost of providing these deluxe supplementary benefits to asylum claimants has gone up by 1,000% under the Liberals to over $1 billion. Money diverted away from our health care, jamming up our system and increasing our wait lines. The Liberals destroyed our immigration system with numbers that overwhelmed our jobs, our health care, and our housing. Not only that, they've made it so that when someone is here making an asylum claim and they commit a crime, they could indeed have lower sentences than if a Canadian had committed the very same crime. This is unfair, and it's time that it changed. That's why tomorrow, Conservatives are moving a motion to change it. The motion would force a review and a cutback in benefits to asylum claimants to ensure that non-citizens and non-permanent residents do not get superior health benefits than Canadians. Second,
only equal.
It would ensure that those asylum claimants who are here and have been rejected only get life-saving emergency care and not special care. And third, it would ensure that judges give the full sentence and allow for a complete deportation of foreign nationals who are non-citizens that commit crime in our country. Enough is enough. We can't allow foreign criminals to take advantage of our system.
All right. Anyway, you get the idea. Like I said, it's low-hanging fruit. He's not saying anything about the millions of people that are expired or will be expired and don't want to leave. You know, they came here on student visa or some kind of visa program that's ending, a 2-year visa, whatever. And they don't want to leave. They'd rather die than go back. And he doesn't talk about that. He talks about a very small group of fake refugees and criminal refugees, which, you know, it's a no-brainer to get rid of them. But he even, you know, he doesn't want to say the words. That's the problem, like the remigration. Millions must go, all that stuff. Like the guy in the UK, Rupert Lowe, is saying. It'll be interesting if he's successful to restore UK. If someone in the Conservative Party will run on that, or if they'll have a restore Canada. Probably not. Canada's, I don't know. UK's been pushed to the edge, I think. So now they're going for broke. Hopefully. Here's another one. Taxpayer dollars funding an Islamic institute in Mississauga where an instructor is openly encouraging young Muslims to dream of a global caliphate. So yeah, that's Mississauga. We got Brampton for Indians, Mississauga for the Muslims. Could be a war there. You're just asking for trouble. So yeah, the Muslims should be Muslims in the Muslim countries because they want Like, it's literally their whole first objective is to spread the religion and take over. They literally say it. So the fact that we're funding it, it's taxpayer dollars. Yeah, the fact that we're funding that's just insane. It's insane. So that's got to change. Send them back to. Okay, here's Danielle Smith. So we saw Doug Ford saying we want economic immigrants. We want the GDP to go up. Didn't say anything about, the quality of life in Ontario. Of course, we're just economic units to Doug Ford. But here's Danielle Smith. So she's calling for this immigration referendums. But I think the only reason she did that is kind of a release valve. It's not till October, and it's kind of vague, and it's not really binding. So it's kind of like, oh, let's just let them stew on this for a few months. But I just like the Conservatives, I don't believe anything they say on immigration after what I've seen when it counted during the elections. They barely whispered it. So I don't give them much credibility. And Danielle Smith has her own dress up days. And then she said this about doubling Alberta's population from 5 million to 10 million.
Or get private insurance for healthcare.
So a couple years ago only, yeah. Danielle Smith was calling for immigration levels high enough to double Alberta's population from 5 million to 10. Funny how quickly the position shifts depending on which way the wind is blowing. Yeah, so I'm a little suspicious of her. I think she's kind of like Pierre, walking the tightrope between the ethnic politics, the ethnic pandering, and the conservative base. I mean, that's liberals don't rock that tightrope. They're on the ground, firmly on the ground. What these guys still walk the tightrope, so will she cross the Rubicon? Maybe. Maybe not. Now we're talking about India, but I also have to talk about Africa, because India has got 1.5 billion people. Africa's got 1.5 billion people. That's one thing they have in common. The other thing they have in common is everybody wants to get the hell out of there. So, because our government's run by traders, they have this philosophy that Canada has to, every sad sack story in the world, which there are lots, and I don't deny that. There's tons of suffering in this world. But for some reason, they all have to come to Canada, or a large amount of them. And when you look at the numbers, 1.5 billion, 3 billion people between India and Africa. So it's not about hating them or not, wanting ill will towards them. It's just numbers. It's all about numbers. That's a lot of people, man. And not only is it a lot of people, because, China's got 1.5 billion people. But I don't see a lot of Chinese itching to get out of China. But, kind of stuff's happening there. It's not, like, literally India, they'll die. They'd rather die than go back. Like the students here on a visa. And, it's crazy. It's not my fault, though, that India is such a hellhole that they don't want to go back. And Africa's the same way. I mean, they don't want to go back to Africa either. Live in some mud hut. I'm sure they have tin shacks too. But here's Sudan. Sudan is a basket case. It's been a basket case since the decolonization, since before. And there's a lot of African countries that are basket cases. There's Nigeria. Nigeria's got over 200 million people, almost 250 million. And they have a huge growth rate. And this Sudan, their growth rate's huge. It's crazy. Meanwhile, Canada's growth rate's declining. So it's like, how can they have a huge growth rate, like 3%, when, you know, the country's literally a hellhole. It's weird. So here we have an advocate here. An advocate warns the delays and cuts to Canada's Sudanese immigration programs are putting lives at risk amid what she calls genocide in the world's largest displacement crisis. It's like, you know, obviously anybody getting killed is horrible, but like Africa's a big place. Why would you truck them all the way to Canada? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And a totally different culture, language barriers, you know, just not compatible with Canada. But let's ship them here. And the same thing with Nigeria. Like, people want to get the hell out of Nigeria too. Even though they have a ton of oil, it's never going to go to people, tell people. So yeah, let's get the hell out of Nigeria. But that's why I say ban immigration from Africa, because the numbers. It's not a compatible culture. There's a million different cultures there, it seems, different tribes and stuff, and clans. Why would you want that to bring that here? I wish them the best, but that's a lot of people. Like, look at this. Well, let's see what she says here.
Yes. Since the war in Sudan began in April 2023, I have worked extensively with IRCC to advocate for humanitarian pathways for Sudanese impacted by the war, a tradition Canada has upheld for many communities in times of crisis. Sudan is facing genocide and the largest humanitarian and displacement crisis in the world. Today, I'm here to share our community's experience with prolonged delays, inequitable processing, and systemic disparities.
Yeah, she's just saying we're taking too long to take the Sudanese refugees. I don't even know why we're taking Sudanese refugees, because it's going to cost us a lot of money. And like I said, Africa is a big place. You know, you'd think they'd want to be in their own continent, close to their home. But it's horrible. It's a basket case, the whole continent. There are some bright spots, but very few. And it's not sustainable at all for Canada to have even a fraction of them come here. Because, like I said, it's 1.5 billion, and they have a really high growth rate. Look at this. I looked this up. Assuming this is true, said this is what you're dealing with Sudan. So, has a estimated population of 52 million to 53 million. So that's a lot of people, a lot of mouths to feed. Sudan is experiencing a high population growth rate, around 3.14%, with a young population that has a median age of 18.8 years. So yeah, here we are saying Canada, Europe, Japan, we're all going to die off because we're not producing enough. And these guys are producing like rabbits. So it's weird. It's so weird. I'm sure there's a reason. I don't want to get into it, but the point is we can't accept every sob story. Like, there's billions of them. Way too much money. And obviously you're going to alter the whole population. So, yeah, ban immigration from Africa. And I said, Canada's at the point, and we haven't seen this yet. We see Danielle Smith, the closest is Danielle Smith saying about referendums. And I know Max Bernier said it, moratorium on immigration, whatever, I get it, but I'm talking like party leaders that have a chance of forming the government. And this Rupert Lowe guy in the UK, actually, they're saying has chance to gain momentum to be the next government, which is like, that's big. We're not talking about 5-10 seats. So he's saying the words out loud that millions must go, and we have to, save the nation from being overwhelmed. nobody in Canada is saying that. Nobody of like major political stripes. This Rupert Lowe guy in the UK, he's was an MP. He was with the major parties. So nobody's saying that here in Canada. So until someone in Canada says millions must go, anything else like this refugee stuff that Pierre's talking about, it's just a waste of time. It is literally just a waste of time. And it's like almost they do it just to keep. So Pierre talks about these fake refugees. And so his conservative boomer supporters are sitting there saying, oh, good, we'll do something about that. So like it's more of a distraction. And I hate it. I don't like it. Meanwhile, this is horrible. The refugee board is just getting totally pilloried lately with leaks and insider accounts saying like security checks were abandoned, review processes were automated, and nearly 25,000 people were given refugee status without a single government employee having met them in person. I bet they were Indian. But it was an Indian cousin was working at the refugee board. He let in his 25,000 cousins. At the precise moment, the record numbers of foreign nationals were trying to secure Canadian residency via the asylum system, the federal government slashed all its usual controls to weed out fraudsters, human traffickers, and terrorists. All right. So there's a lot of this reporting lately, how basically it was easier to get refugee status granted than a Costco membership or something. I wonder if the Costco asked for ID. So basically, whoever's running the refugee board, nobody takes responsibility for this stuff either. That's weird. Of course not. But apparently they just let anybody in. And who knows how much corruption was going on there. Like, friends let this guy in. He's a friend of ours. It's horrible. Here's more reaction to the Conservative MPs in India. You might as well change the name from Conservative Party of Canada to the Khalistani Party of India. These are not Canadians. They are foreigners working for foreign interests while supposedly representing Canadians. That's right, a piece of paper does not a Canadian make. So, here's Mocha Bazurgan talking. He's the one who reported on this Indian trip to these Conservative MPs trip to India. Pierre Poilievre's deputy. Let's see what he says here. This is a different MP. So all his top Indian MPs are in India for some reason. Pierre Poilievre's deputy leader Tim Lepal is in Punjab right now for some reason and met with Bikram Singh Majid, former Punjab minister who's currently on bail facing serious criminal proceedings, including charges under India's Narcotic Drugs Act. Earlier, Poilievre's finance critic met with Sukhpal Khaira, another Punjabi MLA who's out on bail while facing NDPS, money laundering, and criminal intimidation proceedings. So, basically, in total, at least 4 Conservative politicians traveled to Punjab secretively within the last 7 days, and at least 2 of them met with politicians who are currently out on bail while facing serious drug-related criminal proceedings. Yeah, there's our... This is the deputy leader of the Conservative Party. This guy. This gentleman here. And that's why, people are starting to realize, I don't think the Conservatives are going to do anything on this immigration thing. I think it's... Yeah. So, I mean, it's the Conservative Party. Like I said, we're talking about Jason Kenney, Doug Ford, Danielle Smith 2 years ago, Pierre Poilievre, low-hanging fruit. Even Erin O'Toole, soft on immigration. So it's I think the veil is lifting slowly on conservatives and conservative or people who are anti-mass migration, who, know the liberals aren't going to change and would like an alternative, but they're not getting it with the conservatives. And this is just bad optics, especially with this extortion thing in the headlines. How, it's a national emergency in Canada. These guys are gallivanting around in Punjab. I wonder if they took a direct flight from Amritsar. Okay. There's a conservative finance critic meeting with some sketchy Indian dude. Look at it. They look like they're heads of state of the Punjab. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's a conservative party. And it's showing too, because there's polls. Latest poll is showing the conservatives getting crushed. Liaison strategies, it's considered, I guess, it's considered fairly reliable. They're showing a liberal majority, according to voter intent, 224 seats, conservative 87. So it was crazy. It had the percentage, I can't remember what the percentage was, but they have like a 9-point lead or something, which is crazy. And it can't be good for Pierre to see these kind of numbers. Like, he's got people biting at him probably. And if Carney, I guarantee you, if Carney gets his majority by whatever defections or by-elections, then you can bet the knives will be out for Pierre with these numbers. And that's what you get when you walk the tight. You try to walk the tightrope between pro-immigration, ethnic pandering, and keeping the base docile and happy. You can only run that, walk that wire for so long. All right. There's more conservative pictures. There's your Conservative Party. The Conservative Party of India. All right. Here's more Indian stuff, I guess. This is the thing. I don't like this, because you see all those videos of the Indian rivers and lakes, and basically it's the toilet of the subcontinent. Now they throw these idols for their religion into the river. Sometimes they throw dead bodies into the river. I'm sure that's coming. This is Humber River, Ontario. Another video has been found, this time of the Hindu community dumping dozens of idols in Humber River, one of Canada's largest rivers. Salmon in this lake will become extinct if this practice isn't stopped. So this is so annoying. Like, seriously, you come to a different country and it's like, I'm going to throw shit in the river. And they say, oh, it's biodegradable. And it's like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm pretty sure it's made in China. What else does he say here? Yeah, like, give it time. We'll see our beautiful rivers and lakes looking like India's. Look, I don't see no garbage here. Oh, let's throw some garbage into this perfectly clean lake or river. Let's throw a bunch of... Is it sound? Oh, they got sound too. Is that Pierre there, I see? What the hell? Is this Indiana Jones in the last Temple of Doom. Alright. Biodegradable. Totally biodegradable. Anyway, let's see.
Of some of my fellow Hindus.
Okay. Okay. And then this guy, I saw this video and he's, I don't know. It's real because these guys have no shame. He's saying this is why we should be able to pollute your rivers and lakes.
Hindus and worry about what
This is what they really want.
of some of my fellow Hindus. They're saying that we need to change our rituals and immerse Lord Ganesh in a tub of water. And you know what I say to that? Stuff it. I don't want to hear it. These practices are thousands of years old, and we don't need to be apologetic Hindus and worry about what others will think, when we ourselves have been abiding by all rules and regulations. Now, if you're ashamed to be Hindu in public, that's on you. But that's not me, and that's not the community here in Canada.
So, are religious traditions of one group more important than the environment? The city of Calgary rejects this practice all the time, citing health and safety regulations to not let people use storm ponds for recreational purposes. We should also note that the Canadian Environmental Protection Act mandates the protection of aquatic environments, and provincial water acts provide authority to regulate and restrict harmful practices. Are Canadian authorities doing enough research on the materials of these supposedly eco-friendly Ganeshas?
Oh, totally eco-friendly there.
The idols are generally made with plaster of Paris and synthetic paints containing lead and mercury that
Yeah.
don't dissolve easily, harming aquatic life.
This is
Decorative
ridiculous.
plastic materials can block water flow and disrupt the natural ecosystem. Other ritual items such as flowers, cloth, and plastic accessories are often left in the water. How about the processions preceding the immersion? Does the city have to clean up, raising costs which are ultimately paid with all citizens' taxes? What are the alternatives? Celebrate at home or in temples. Many of the same religion do that every year. Your religion is not above the law. Don't pollute Canada's waters.
Yeah. Yeah. I just look, I just look at the rivers in India, like the rivers of garbage. And I was like, this is ridiculous, man. I don't care. I like clean rivers and lakes. I actually like going to them and sitting by them. It's just like this Muslim thing. You're paying the Muslims to fund an institute, Islamic institute, to kill you, and you're paying the Indians, or letting the Indians throw shit in the river. It's the same kind of thing. Like, you're letting them do whatever they want. It's getting ridiculous. And here we got Anita Anand, who's our foreign minister. She's Indian, but she's born here, but she's Indian. Like, she's totally Indian. And she's going to India with Carney, because that's how important it is. She says, I will be returning to India with the Prime Minister this week to further diversify trade and to unlock additional opportunities for Canadians, including Indian Canadians, including by elevating all sectors of the Canadian economy and enhancing. What the hell does that mean? Including by elevating all sectors of the Canadian economy and enhancing our people-to-people ties. Yeah, we're trying to get rid of our Indians. We got 3 million that don't want to go back. They'd rather die than go back to. And here we are, our Prime Minister and our Foreign Minister trying to do all these deals to bring more Indians. So yeah, we got Conservative MPs in India. We got them in India. Who's in Canada? Next thing you know, Doug Ford will be going to India. He already sent a couple of his finance minister and all them. It's ridiculous. Oh, let's bring more in. What we need is more India here. Here's another thing. Muslim rape gangs, the thing that are popular in UK, like popular in a horrible way. Maybe they're coming to Canada. Yeah. Human trafficking. Look at these guys. Mohammed Omar Al-Saleh, Mustafa Abdo, and Yusuf Al-Gaburi charged in human trafficking investigation involving several young girls aged 11 to 14 years old. Oh, death penalty there. Firing squad, hanging. Suspects use coercion, manipulation, and threats of physical violence to financially exploit them. So how widespread is this in Canada? You know, and you know who they're finding, these 11, 14, the ones that are coming from the broken homes. Maybe they're ethnics too. Ethnic, from that same ethnic group, probably, you know, a lot of vulnerable children getting trafficked in Canada. It's, you know, it's, but this is part of the, you know, this is what you're bringing in. Muslim rape gangs. 4 people arrested. There's only 3 here. Anyway, another reason to ban immigration from all these third world countries, because it seems like we're getting the worst of them. So, I mean, this is no-brainer stuff here. Okay. So that's it. But yeah, the Liberals have a big lead on the Conservatives. So the Conservatives have to change from this to like a nationalist party like Rupert Lowe's doing in the UK. Until that happens, we're screwed. Or until like a nationalist, hardcore nationalist party gets some traction in Canada, which I don't see it happening in the... I'm talking like a mainstream party. I don't see it happening in the near future. Hopefully, you never know, it could spread quick. I guess it's really up to the young voters. So that's what was on today. Conservatives weak on immigration. People are starting to realize it. I mean, the mass realization of it starting to happen. So let's keep an eye on it. So the next broadcast will be February 24th, tomorrow. Doesn't look like Iran's going to get bombed in the near future, which is, I'm very surprised. So, and that's, tomorrow's our next broadcast, and we'll see what the X feed tells us tomorrow. And until then, have a nice night.